Folks, welcome in to sportsbookreview.com. This is your Major League Baseball show for Tuesday, September 22nd, 2020. The playoff stretch, Jason, coming down to the wire. Less than a week left of Major League Baseball regular season. We are ready to fire away. Hitting weather, Jason, not here right now. I had a couple games yesterday. I got skunked trying to fade a rookie pitcher, and he ends up dominating that game. But that seems like the tail of the tape right now with some of these games going over. Even watching one, Jason, that we were talking a little bit earlier on before the show started, the Atlanta Braves and the Miami Marlins get 7 runs in the first inning and don't hit a total of 9.5. Wild times in Major League Baseball. I'm Donnie Seymour. He's Jason Radowitz. Welcome in to the show. And we really got to grind these pencils in this last week here to try to find some W's. There's some decent games out there today, Jason. Let's see if we can hit on some of them, right? Damn it. Let's go.
Yeah, yesterday, Wheeler versus Sanchez, Phillies versus Nationals. And Wheeler pitched like Sanchez. Sanchez pitched like Wheeler. And again, another heartbreaking loss that wasn't even close to begin with. I don't know what's going on in the MLB. We've seen a ton of weird things going on, but you know what? It's going to happen. In a shorter season, and we just need to pick our spots, pick the right games, and keep going, keep fighting.
We did a fun Monday Night Football show last night, very profitable as well. But just as Scott Kaler said, or Joe Vaughn says, Cardinals let me down. Cardinals really let me down. I mean, come on, man, a young rookie pitcher. You're looking to say, hey, you know what? Knock this kid out early. I believe he had a solo home run in the second inning, and nothing doing the rest of the game. Somebody needs to wake up in Major League Baseball, but a fun card today. We'll break it all down. We usually don't hit doubleheaders, but since we have an early game and maybe some playoff implications here, we'll get right started on that. 69 people watching the show. How about that? Gronkowski would be happy with that number. 11 thumbs up, 0 thumbs down. 68,600 people have hit subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you for doing that. If you have not done so yet, and that button is still red, flip it over to gray. Turn your notifications on every time Jason and I go live here, whether it's regular season or the playoffs in Major League Baseball. You'll get that information delivered directly to your inbox. We the people, Gabriel, Alex, Jovan, Scott, Gerald, Robert S., everybody here in the chat box. Let's get started. 951, 952. And you're right. We talked on the show yesterday saying, wait a second. Anibal Sanchez just going to throw slop up there. Zach Wheeler's having a pretty good season. And before I even know it, forgetting the game started early, I'm seeing the Phillies down 2-0, getting texts like, oh, looks like they're. I said, how the hell is this going to happen? And still yet, when we came on the air, Jason, we had a chance. Bryce Harper not able to do any damage. That's the one that you pay $300 million for to put a ball in the right field seats and a 3-2 win, but wasn't able to be to fruition. 951, 952 today. Aaron Nola, the ace on the mound versus Austin Voth. 5 out of every 10 tickets. Basically a 50-50 ticket split here on the Philadelphia Phillies. A heavy favorite. Opens up at 175 offshore, Jason. Now we're seeing north of 200. And keep in mind, again, it's a doubleheader game. So when you see the total of 6.5, it's not like, oh, my God, all I need is – no. It's a 7-inning game. The Phillies should be able to hit. And if you're looking at this game and saying yesterday, boy, it's just not coming together. Bryce Harper 0 for 4 with 3 Ks. You get JT Realmuto back in the lineup. It's an A-plus lineup. The Phillies need wins. Do you press down and say, like, it's a 200 number, a run line, or whatever it would be that they need to win? But we've seen it before. Just because you have to win, Jason, don't mean you're going to win today. Yeah,
they had a win yesterday, too, with their ace pitcher, Zach Wheeler, on the mound, and they couldn't hit Anibal Sanchez, who is not the ace pitcher for the Nationals. No. But with that said, the first game, Nola versus Austin Voth, Nola could pitch a complete game in this game. 7 innings, he can go complete game. He can go complete game shutout. Nola, he's 8 innings pitched versus the Nationals. It's last time out. 7 innings pitched versus the Nationals in another outing this season. Could literally go a complete game in this one. Austin Voth, I'm not very impressed with. Has a high Sierra, struggles to get ground balls. He's faced the Phillies, this season. Whatever. He was okay. Didn't pitch his best. And, lefties are still hitting 324 versus Voth. The Phillies should have multiple lefties in that lineup. Remember, it is a doubleheader, so I'm not sure exactly who will be in that lineup. I don't know if it's already released yet for that game. Yeah, so it's probably at least 4 lefties in that lineup, which is fair against both. So, I'd be all over the Phillies in this one, minus 1.5 if I had to choose.
Yeah, let's take a look here. It looks like I have it's lined up here, so I'm assuming this is correct here. McCutcheon's going to lead off right-hander. Harper's lefty, Gregorius lefty, J. Bruce Hazley, and Mickey Moniak lefty. So it looks like you got 3, 4, 5 lefties, and then you also have some guys that can do damage. So when you look at the lineup overall, Let's see what we got here with some of the numbers from 2020. They should be able to hit. They should be able to, but coulda, woulda, shoulda. Jason, I know you're a big Mets fan. I love the Mets lineup, and sometimes I look at it like, how did the Mets only get one run in this game versus this pitcher? The Phillies do it time and time again. This is one of those lineups that you finally get again. JT Realmuto back in the 5-hole there. Harper's going to bat second. Alex Boehm's going to bat third. There's a lot of good bats in that lineup that should do damage in this one. Which way would you, if over under 6.5, Wolf's on the mound, you figure the Phillies would get a couple runs. I think Nola can do some damage. I lean towards this. I still lean towards the 6.5 over because the Phillies get the full 7 at bats. What about the total? Which way would you be leaning in that one?
I would just go with the Phillies over 3.5 because, like I said, Nola, I think he can go complete game shutout in this game. They need him badly for this one, especially to start off the doubleheader. They could use both games, but let's start off with the win here with Nola. Nola's done a really great job versus the Nationals in the first two games that he's faced them. He's won 7 and 8 innings in those games. I really truly believe Nola can go complete game, potentially get a shutout in this game. I'm not sure if there's any MLB props for complete games, or obviously you can take the under for the Nationals in their team total if you want to think Nola can get that shutout. But yeah, I love Nola in this game. I really think the Phillies can get that complete game shutout and score a bunch of runs in this game. So Phillies minus 1.5, Phillies over 3.5 on the team total. But I wouldn't even touch the over in the full game because, again, I don't think the Nationals will score any runs. But of course, I've been wrong before. Look at Zach Wheeler allowing 2 runs early. So, of course, I've been wrong.
I know, even if he allows the 2 runs early, like, hey, he's still got a lot of at-bats here. You should be able to touch up Anibal Sanchez, and he pitches like it's, 1999 all over again. 9:53, 9:54, the Chicago White Sox and the Cleveland Indians. Ronaldo Lopez versus Cal Quantrill on the mound. Opens up at 7.5, but that's probably predicated on different pitching matchups here. It's 9.5, 9s across the board, depending on where you pay the juice. But also, if you take a look at Cleveland here, minus 132s, minus 130. So a cheap price here on Cleveland, who's charging towards the playoffs, the similar way that the Chicago White Sox are. Looking at this game overall, it's like Cleveland can jump up and everybody should be able to hit Ronaldo Lopez. But for the past couple starts here, seemed like he's getting his fastball down. He's still a fly ball pitcher, but again, we don't have those temperatures of 85 to 90 degrees where he's just going to give up fly ball after fly ball, and some of those are going to leave the ballpark. I, however, lean with these two pitchers. I can't say under at 9, so I'm going to go with the over in this game, Jason.
Yeah, so originally we were supposed to get Bieber, but his start was pushed back till tomorrow. So Cal Quantrill's coming, get the start. He was the guy that was traded for Clevenger from the Padres. This is a guy that hasn't really pitched too deep in any game this season, so I'm not sure I expect a long outing out of Quantrill, but I'm not a big Ronaldo Lopez fan. This is the guy with a 5.4 ERA, 6.94 FIP. Can the Indians' offense do anything against Lopez? I would assume so. I think their offense might be turning the corner just a little bit. But, of course, Ronaldo Lopez, this is the guy the righties are hitting 293. The lefties are just hitting 243. Now, you look at that top of the lineup, right? You have 4 switch hitters that are going to be batting from the left side. And Lopez, he 243 against the lefties this season. So it's tricky for sure. I don't know. I would go Cleveland as the short money line favorite, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Indians don't score against Lopez. I wouldn't, which is weird.
Yeah, it is odd, and it's September baseball. I guess you could say it the best, but one of my better fades that you have. He just gives up home runs, fly balls, and every once in a while you see him in that 6 innings, 1 earned run. You scratch your head like, I don't know where it came from here. How about this game? We just talked about it at the prelude for the show here. 961, 962, Miami and Atlanta, 2 pitchers that should be able to get hit again. Urania's going to be on the mound versus Bryce Wilson. Line opened up at 190 as a favorite towards Atlanta. Now we're sitting in that 165 range, 150s range. Over-under opened up at 9, now sits at 9.5 across the board. You'd figure the Atlanta bats will be able to wake up and do some damage against Urania. And the same thing, Miami's still in the playoff hunt here. If I guess the season ended today, they would be in the playoffs, being in second place in the NL East. So they're going to put an A lineup out. Some of these teams that we're going to talk about maybe clinching, like the Oakland Athletics, where they might have the night out to party, relax, we're in the playoffs, no big deal the rest of the way. That's not the case here with Miami. They can't afford to say, hey, I didn't expect those 3 guys to sit tonight because they needed rest. Both these teams are probably going to be full go in this one. And talking about it last night, I had the team total raise over 4. I got 3 in the first inning, second and third with 2 outs, and didn't get any more runs until the 8th inning, even though they kept on loading up the bases, men on first, leadoff doubles, not able to punch anything through. I felt fortunate to get a push in that one. But on the flip side, when you're looking at the game total as well, how many times if you get a 7-run first inning, say I need 3 more runs over the next 8 innings, I'm going to cash this ticket in, and it doesn't even get there. How amazing was that to watch? But today, leaning on the same type of foundation. I think Miami can get their team total here. I think Atlanta can get their team total here. So therefore, I think that 9.5 will be good to go as well. Those are the ways I'm leaning here. I see runs here in Atlanta tonight. No reason that Bryce Wilson's going to be able to hold down Miami to 2 runs here. I don't think so.
Yeah, I agree. Over 9.5, definitely a play for this game. I do think the Marlins obviously have a solid underdog value here at around plus 140. I saw it a little bit earlier with Jose Arena on the mound, Bryce Wilson of the Braves on the mound for the Braves, of course. So, I'm not too high on Wilson. We've seen him in 4 games, 7.2 innings pitched. What are you going to get out of him? Probably not much. The Braves bullpen hasn't been great. Urena, of course, hasn't been great either. 6 ERA, 5.79 FIP. So 100% this game goes over. I thought this game should have been at 10 or above. Seeing it at 9.5, knowing you can potentially get that 5-5 game and automatically win. And even 4-4 and getting extra innings and getting that win too. There's a lot of different ways you can win on this over 9.5. I think it's a great play. Also think the Marlins can win as an underdog in this one on the road. Of course, like you said, they're still in contention, still in the race for a playoff spot, and currently have a playoff spot. Who would have thought? Look, the Orioles, they've fallen a little bit, so they're not going to be in the playoffs. But the Marlins, you got to give a lot of credit to Don Mattingly with the Marlins and what they've been able to accomplish, especially with that whole COVID thing early on. That's been impressive. So I'm not sure they're a fluke anymore, which is just crazy to even think about. But yeah, this is a Marlins team that's actually not bad. The Braves are a lot better, but the Braves are clinched. They're fine. But at the end of the day, the Marlins plus 143. Why not?
Yeah, that's the way I'm looking in that game. You get the full 9 at bats. I think they could do some damage. You're not going against, Mike Soroka or obviously he's injured, but, anybody at the top of that lineup that can even do anything. Max Fried. This should be one of those pitchers that's just thrown out there, and you should be able to touch him up. If he goes 4 innings, you should be able to get at least 2 runs and then see if we could do some damage off of the bullpen later in the game. How about this one here? One of the teams that it's been rough to try to get a hold of. Brody Van Wagenen, that GM. Will he be the GM next year? You got the new, ownership coming in. Maybe guys already looking toward the next year. Very disappointing year for the Mets, but still there are games to be played. Snell's going to take the mound as the lefty. Seth Lugo is going to take the mound for the New York Mets. Opened up at minus 127. And this is pretty telling here. It hasn't moved at all, even though a lot of money here is coming in, or a lot of tickets opening up to be on Seth Lugo. 7.5s across the board. You look at the lineups itself. We talked about it yesterday, Jason. An amazingly high prob, 9.5 and 10s out there for the strikeout number for DeGrom. And I went over the strikeout numbers for the Tampa Bay Rays. They strike out like it's their job to strike out, not get on base. He blew that away yesterday and still wasn't able to get any runs in support for himself. Now you come back today, still high strikeout numbers. Obviously, to righty, Seth Lugo will be on the mound today. We'll see how long he goes. But then Blake Snell on the opposite side. When you just take a look at the hitting numbers, the Mets field a good lineup. The Mets hit pretty well off lefties, but Snell is an elite level lefty. It's one of those things, do you trust him? Because you're going to get a plus money price. But the simple fact is, can we get the Mets or trust the Mets to maybe wait out Snell and get after the bullpen? Or is 2 to 3 runs enough for the Mets to win this ball game? That's what you have to weigh, because when I take a look at Tampa Bay, it's the same scenario I looked at yesterday, Jason. If you're not hitting for power and you're striking out a lot, you need 3 hits per inning just to get a single run. So sometimes I look at this and say, you know what? I'm going to take the Mets as a dog in this game, because do you figure that Tampa Bay is going to run away in this game? I don't think so. So I'm going to take a dog at home. Maybe the Mets have a little bit left in the tank. Cheap dog price. I'll lean on it.
I respect it. Did you see Lugo? Did you see Lugo against your Phillies the other?
I loved it. Yes, I did love that stuff. Lugo.
No, but the reality is Lugo. He's kind of taking a backseat in the last 2 starts. 900 runs in his last 7 innings pitched. So. Lugo hasn't looked the best as of late, so it would be hard for me to back the Mets in the spot. Of course, I'm backing them in real life, but when it comes down to betting, I want to give you guys my unbiased thoughts. I try my best, okay? I try my best. But, Snell, this is a guy that hasn't had a quality start all season long. And it's not that he hasn't allowed, a high amount of earned runs. It's really that he hasn't gone 6 innings. So the Rays in the first 5 innings versus Seth Lugo, I think that the Rays can just sneak out a couple runs against Seth Lugo. Snell will give you his quality 5 innings, not 6 innings, his quality 5 innings. The Mets, of course, can definitely get to the bullpen of the Rays, maybe score some runs, but I think the Rays will come out to an early lead. So if I had to make a play on this game, Rays in the first 5 innings for me. And I guess under 7.5, I think Lugo gets back on track. With the Rays offense, it really hasn't really impressed. Like you said, they strike out a ton. They don't really have anyone in that lineup that's like a superstar. They're just a team that just they play well together. But I think I like the under 7.5 in this game if I had to choose. But it's a really low number for an offense like the Mets that can do some damage, randomly in 1 inning.
Yeah, and that's what I'm going to lean on here. I'm going to like that the pop factor for the Mets. There's more guys in that lineup that have better ISO numbers, better weighted on base average numbers than what I'm going to get out of the Rays. When the Rays have a really bad pitching matchup, sometimes you can tack on. But I've been on winning sides with the Rays where they squeak by at 4.5 and get the 5, and I've been on ones where I'm saying like, my God, can you just at least put the ball in play? Because the amount of times they strike out. If they were a power team, you could live with it, right? Hey, he's man on first base. I'm going to swing for the fence home run. But they don't do that either and strike out at a high clip. So they're always a tough little task to take. But short favorite here in New York City, 977, 978, Oakland and the Los Angeles Dodgers. The reason I put that up here is you saw the Oakland Athletics clinching a playoff spot, or should I say clinching the division. So now they sit there, 9.5 as a total. 184 is now dropping down to 160s, 165s. But I do lean on, this is one of the wide look at saying, you know what, if this is one of those days where Oakland might catch a breather or a break, or maybe celebrated a little bit last night, came to the ballpark today feeling good and refreshed, not all there for a game tonight, I'm going to focus on the Dodgers because it is a heavy line at minus 170. I'm going to lean on them over the first 5 innings in this game to get after Frankie Montas. We do know that lineup that does damage against right-handed pitching. Montas is a really good pitcher with a lot of electric stuff, but hasn't always panned out each and every game. I'm going to take May to have a decent 5 innings here. Give me the run line on the Dodgers tonight over the first 5. Maybe a little bit of a sleepy start to Oakland saying, hey, we're in the playoffs. We did it. Now let's focus on the rest of the season. I like the Dodgers in this spot here.
Montez, 8.46 ERA on the road this season with a batting average of 309. He's now allowed 15 earned runs in his last 4 starts, hasn't pitched through 6 innings in any of those starts. So while he's pitched well, here and there, on the road he hasn't. And Dustin May, this is the guy you'd hope for more strikeouts from him. 6.51 per 9 innings, kind of low for a guy that I think coming into the league was supposed to have electric stuff, like the 2.0 of Syndergaard, whatever the case might be with his hair. Supposed to, strike out a ton. Not getting the strikeouts, but he is getting good ground ball rate, limiting the walks. He's done so many great things as well. He's usually reliable to go 5 innings and allow, very few amount of runs. I like that play too. Dodgers at minus 159 in the full game, or you could look at the Dodgers in the first 5, take on the run line, minus 0.5. I think the Dodgers have a big edge here versus Frankie Montas, especially at home. Yeah. They should be able to do some damage versus Montas. Completely agree with you. Not an official play for me, but it was a lean for me for sure.
Yep, playing the championship angle, saying, hey, boys, let's have a couple beers tonight. Don't worry about tomorrow. We'll see if that plays off today. 9:55, 9:56, the New York Yankees and the Toronto Blue Jays. You saw it yesterday. Toronto jumped all over out in that game. And you're looking at that, Yankees team total in that 5.5 range, mostly 5.5s across the board. And it looks like that was dead in the water. And then you look up again in the 9th inning. They had a chance to hit their team total. Now you get a look. It's funny. Yesterday you had Schumacher on the mound. Now you're going to have Tanner Roark, who I think is a lower grade pitcher than Schumacher was yesterday. If the Yankees go full go tonight, there's tons of ISO power, tons of weighted on base average. Now, you're not going to get the wind blowing out at Salem Field tonight. It's sort of a crossed wind type situation, but it's still a smaller ballpark. It's still a bad pitcher on the mound. It's still a tough bullpen, a bad bullpen for the Toronto Blue Jays. You're getting a full 9 at-bats out of the New York Yankees. I think the Yankees obviously are going to win this game. A great look at maybe a run line, but it's 260, so I think it's a little bit more expensive. If I think the Yankees are going to do damage and win this game handily, team total Yankees over 5.5 makes the most sense for me in this game, Jason. What are you looking at here?
I wanted the Yankees minus 1.5. Then I looked at DraftKings and I saw minus 175 next to the 1.5.
Jeez.
And that was the end for me. But Garrett Cole, he's been great in his last 3 starts. Finally turning the page, turning the corner. 2 earned runs in his last 3 starts. Very high K rate, swinging strike rate, really high too. Rourke, obviously, high Sierra, low ground ball rate. Now allowed 8 earned runs in his last 8 innings pitched versus the Yankees, and those have been his last 2 starts versus the Yankees. So now we got the third time at the Yankees order. The Yankees, they obviously have their research and have their scouting reports already against Rourke, who's looked really bad throughout the entire season. A 6.41 ERA, 7.22 FIP, walking nearly 5 batters per 9 innings, allowing 3.2 homers per 9 innings. Everything talked about Rourke just looks really bad. So while I love the Yankees here, the only play that I would recommend is Yankees over 5.5 on the team total. Not a play for me, but it's definitely a big lean for me. I like the play a lot. There's just no reason to dip into this game when the juice is just crazy. The over 5.5 is like minus 130. Like, what's the point at that
climbing.
point?
No, it's absolutely climbing up. And it's hard to do it, but if you're having a matchup where you like that pitcher and that lineup goes, again, the nice thing, even though you have a high team total with the Yankees, we know at any time, they could strike 3-run blast as only, as we like to say, 1 inning away. So we'll see what takes place in that game. But I don't think it's one of those where you say, hey, let's, last night it worked out well for us. Let's take another flyer on a huge dog. Garrett Cole's a little bit different pitcher than what you had on yesterday, certainly for the New York Yankees. 957, 958, Milwaukee and Cincinnati. Anderson, the lefty, will take the mound versus Sonny Gray. Sonny Gray's the better pitcher in this matchup. It looks like about almost 6 out of 10 tickets, however, are coming in on Milwaukee. Opened up the total at 8. That now sits at 9, some 8.5 with juice across the board. But the line itself, 157s to 160s, depending on where you're shopping at. When I look at these games here, Sonny Gray's the better pitcher than Anderson is. And you know me, Jason, I've talked about it all summer. If I'm going to take the Milwaukee Brewers, I want to take the Milwaukee Brewers against a lefty, not a right-handed pitcher. So keep it simple again in this game. We could say, let's take Moneyline Reds 153, but I'm going to get a little bit better odds now. I'm going to go first 5 innings and take the run line for the Reds. They should be able to scratch out a couple runs against Anderson. Gray should be able to hold down the fort. That's the way I'm looking at this one. Give me the Reds first 5 innings run line here. What are you looking at, Jason, in this one?
Gray started off the year so well, and he is now really struggling. And the Brewers' offense isn't doesn't excite you, but Gray's been smacked around in his last 4 innings, 11 runs, and that's kind of scary. Anderson's getting some run support as of late. Does have a low strikeout rate, but he's getting high volume of ground balls. But like you said, he's allowed multiple runs almost every game right now. So Anderson hasn't looked great either. Balls continue to be in play, and that's creating havoc for Anderson for sure. A batting average of 288 for righties, and or a batting average of 288 on the season with righties hitting 296. They have 4 home runs against Anderson. So both these pitchers haven't looked great. And when I'm looking at the over 8.5, it seems like a low number for 2 pitchers that have really struggled as of late. And like I said, Anderson's getting some run support as of late from the Brewers offense. So if I had to give it an underdog play, Brewers plus 138, another underdog value play looks really good there. But I also like over 8.5 in this one. There's definitely, I definitely think that Anderson will, allow a bunch of runs. But, Gray hasn't looked great. As of late, so why not get the over? And for your sake, I'd hope that the Reds can score a little bit more than the Brewers.
Yeah, give me one more in that first 5 innings. How about this Howard Greer in the chat box? Donnie, Jason, I made it. Love y'all live. There you go. Thank you for joining us here. And over 300 people in the chat box. We do thank you each and every day for sharing graciously your lunch breaks with us Monday through Friday and talking Major League Baseball with all these people in here in late September when most people just have football in the brain. Shows you guys enjoyed the show, and we certainly do once again appreciate that. Let's keep moving here. Hey, last night, let's fade Lester. We're going to load up those right-handed bats for the Pittsburgh Pirates. But if you listen to this show, me and Jason always caution, look, you can load up all the right-handed bats you got, but if you got the Pittsburgh bats from the right-hand side, sometimes it doesn't work out, and it didn't work out again last night. Quintana versus Brault on the mound, the battle of lefties. Quintana's had 2 games this season. Hasn't started yet. 3 innings in relief, 3 innings in relief. We'll see what he gives you. Stephen Brault coming off maybe one of those games he's going to hang up over his mantle and make his grandkids watch these tapes from the last time out. But now he takes the mound here against Chicago. 158, 159 across the board, total of 8.5. The only way I can look, it's 2 pitchers who I don't trust, But again, I'm looking at a lineup. Do I think the Chicago Cubs should be able to hit the Pittsburgh Pirates? Yes, but they haven't done all that well against lefties on the season. Quintana's going to come in. We know from his past prior performances he can show a decent outing. But again, keep in mind, only 6 innings pitched so far this year. So he's not going to go 7 innings. What's he going? 3 innings, maybe 4 innings, maybe 5 innings. You turn it over to the bullpen. But having said that, it's a high price for Chicago. But I'm not happy to jump in the bed and say Pittsburgh's going to dominate and put up 6 runs with their righties again tonight. It's a game where I see 8.5 pitchers ballpark. I lean under right away here, Jason.
Yeah, I thought you were going to take the Pirates here. I thought you were going to go on the Brault train after that last game. I thought you were on the Brault train, but I guess I
hate
mistaken.
that guy.
Yeah, no, it's two pitchers that will probably just go 3-4 innings at most. We said this last time, and Brault he goes complete game.
Yep.
So,
Brault will go 3 innings in the bullpen. Yeah, oh my God, he made us look bad. Yes, he did.
But at the end of the day, these pitchers are, historically they usually will come out 3-4 innings and allow a couple runs, and that'll be that. But both these offenses really haven't impressed as of late. Both Brault, obviously looked really good in that start, but I'm not sure what the lineup looks like for the Cubs. But Brault's walked now 16 righties this season, which is an extremely high number. So, if the Cubs have a solid amount of righties, you could definitely see some runners get on base, and we know the Cubs definitely have some power in their lineup and can definitely do some damage here and there. So I think the Cubs. I saw the Cubs at -134. Getting the Cubs at around -134 against the Pirates seems like a no-brainer to me. Again, It's not a no-brainer enough for me to put money on the Cubs in this game versus Brault, because I saw what they did to Donnie in that last game. So I'm backing Donnie here and saying, screw you, Brault. Whatever. I'm not touching you. But the Cubs at -134 against the Pirates just seems like a give-me play there. So if I had to lean, it would be the Cubs -134.
Hey, look, it's one of those where, then this game, Brault comes out and he does his normal 3 innings. He gets popped. There's the ones who say, why couldn't he have done this in the last start that he had? But an interesting game nonetheless here. Baltimore and Boston, 965, 966 here on the rotation. Aiken, the lefty, versus Phillies' own Nick Pivetta is going to take them out in his first start of the year with the Boston Red Sox. How about this game? Opens up at 10, sits at 9.5 across the board, but it's roughly a pick 'em. 103s, 104s, 105s, depending on where you're shopping at across the board at SPRodds.com. It's hard to get a good look because Aiken, you would figure oh my God, lefty's going up there. Boston can stack those right-handed bats, but he hasn't been a bad pitcher this year. The fact is Nick Pivetta is a very talented pitcher, but also he hasn't pitched in the major leagues. And we're not even talking about Jason where, all right, he's been honing his skills in AA and AAA. They're basically throwing simulated games and saying, hey, buddy, get out there on the mound and see what you got tonight in order to pitch. It's hard to back that type of a performance. Baltimore at home, much better hitting team than Baltimore away. I would say that I lean towards the over in this game, but I don't know what I'm going to get technically out of Nick Pivetta in this game. Lean towards the over, if I can say that, but I agree with the line here. Basically a pick 'em. This is a coin flip of his game as you can get from me, Jason.
I thought you were going to be fading Pivetta right from the get-go.
I should have. I should have just said I've seen him before. Yep.
But at the end of the day, Aiken, he's coming off one of his best outings, of the season. Allowed 2 hits. No runs with 9 strikeouts and 1 walk versus the Braves in 5 innings. So he looked good in that start. Lefties are hitting .071. Righties are hitting, I think it's over 200 or something. But at the end of the day, I think Aiken's the better pitcher against Pivetta. I think the Orioles can definitely get some damage against Pivetta, who, like you said, he's getting his first start with the Boston. He hasn't been on a major league, mound in 6 weeks. So what could you really expect out of him? Not much. Home runs galore with the Phillies this season already. He's had some miserable outings for the Phillies. So for me, I think the Orioles, I wrote about this game on SBR as my underdog play. It's now a pick 'em. So, it's still kind of an underdog play, in different areas. You could probably get it around +100, +105, or -105, +105, depending on the book. But I think the Orioles have the edge here as a slight underdog in this one on the road versus the Red Sox. Like you said, the Orioles, their offense isn't great on the road, of course, but against Pivetta, I think any offense could be good against Pivetta.
350 people watching live in the chat box. We do thank you. We got a couple more games to hit here. 967, 968. Detroit and Minnesota. Tariq Skubal is going to be on the mound, the lefty. So you know Minnesota should be able to stack some right-handed bats here. Homer Bailey going to be on the mound today for the Minnesota Twins. That line is, look at this. Homer Bailey. How about this, Jason? 187, 188, 195 at some New Jersey outlets as a favorite here. Over-under sits at 9, some 9.5s across the board as well. When I first see Homer Bailey and Skubal on the mound, the immediate thing I think of is this game should go over and Detroit should be able to hit Minnesota. But when you're testing those Detroit bats, it's a lot like testing those bats in the pit for the Pittsburgh Pirates, saying, I hope I can get an honest effort out of this one. I don't know about Homer Bailey, how well he's going to hold up in this game. I certainly don't want to pay a price of 195, but obviously I like to give an opinion on each game. I have a slight lean towards the over in this one, but I can't back Homer Bailey around a $2 price in this one. I just can't do it.
Right. So if you can't back Homer Bailey, Tariq Skubal and the Tigers are definitely a solid value play as underdog here. For me, Skubal, he's looked really good against the Twins this season. 3 earned runs in 11 innings pitched. Not bad at all. 17 strikeouts in 14 innings pitched in his last 14 innings pitched. He's looked solid outside of one game where he kind of struggled. But, he's not getting ground balls. That's the one concern from Skubal. But, Homer Bailey, I think, last season, he was the guy, whenever you saw him, fade, you hated Homer Bailey. Just whenever he was pitching, you would just pick against him. And Tariq Skubal, he hasn't looked bad outside of one game. So for me, if I had to choose, I like the Tigers on the money line as underdog play. Of course, it's not an official play because I like giving out winners. And at the end of the day, underdogs, obviously underdogs for a reason, but. Definitely, listen to me when I give these underdogs, because the reality is I'm scared to do it, but they hit. Like, to look at the Rockies yesterday. I said the Rockies at plus 110.
Yes, you did.
They got an easy win against the Giants. So the underdogs, usually I have a good brain for them. I don't trust myself enough, which is sad because you guys are trusting me more than I trust myself, which is kind of pathetic if you ask me. But Tigers money line, should be a good play in this game for sure.
Let's go back-to-back dogs here with you, Jason. 969, 970. St. Louis Gomber is going to be on the mound, the lefty, versus Brady Singer, who, if you don't know who he is, decent outing last time if you saw him pitch, and also a 3.98 xFIP on the season. So certainly doing some damage. Welcome back Jorge Soler to the lineup for the Kansas City Royals. Makes that lineup much more comparable, so you can slide Maikel Franco out of that power spot in the 3-4. And look what he does. When he's out of that spot where he doesn't have to produce, he produces last night, 4-1 win by Kansas City, which I didn't like to see that outcome. I wish it was switched around with a couple extra runs on the Cardinals. But, hey, we can't cry over spilled milk here. But this line opens up at 121. Now it's down to 115. And I agree. Slight little price here, plus 105. I'll take Kansas City in this game. Over-under opens up at 9. Now sits at 8.5 across the board. I'll take Brady Singer at home in this one. I think there might be a live dog on a cheap price.
Yeah, the last time I checked, it was a pick'em. But I'm with you here. Singer, 100%. He's looked so good in his last few games. He's getting a solid amount of ground balls. Again, no runs in his last 2 starts, and it's 14 innings pitched versus the Tigers and the Indians. So, of course, we're not talking about two of the stellar offenses, but it doesn't matter. We're in the MLB, and Singer's looked really good. Of course, he's not getting much run support either when he's on the mound. But the Cardinals will likely have a bullpen game. Gomber will pitch in this game. Has 2 starts on the season, 12 games that he's played, so 19 innings pitched on the season, but 6.16 walks per 9 innings this season. He's limited on the home runs, but the ground balls are kind of average. Gomber also done really well with keeping guys from scoring on base. Don't think that lasts in this game. I think the Royals' offense is starting to kind of get back to full health with Soler back, and the Royals, they do have some good bats in the lineup. Look at Merrifield. Look at Perez. There's bats in the lineup that can definitely produce. So I like the Royals here as a pick 'em as well. If you get them at plus money, it's again a no-brainer underdog play that I'm not taking again.
Take that dog, Jason. Back, look, use the old adage. Look, you take Scooble, you take Singer. If one of them wins, you put a little bit of change. You might be able to get a McDonald's cheeseburger out of that bad boy. So, Los Angeles Angels versus San Diego Padres. Canning and Davies on the mound, opened up at -161. Sits in that same range across the board here, despite 7 out of every 10 tickets here coming in on San Diego. The only way I look at this game is keep Joe Adell out of the lineup. You still should be able to get some solid at-bats here in San Diego out of the Angels. And also, if you take a look at, obviously, the San Diego side, when you're looking at them going up against right-handed pitching, which Canning is, 1 through 9, they should be able to smoke. So I like the over in this game at over 9, but also take a look at a team total for the San Diego Padres sitting earlier this morning before the show, 4.5 -130 at William Hill. And that's the way I lean as well. I think they're going to get runs in this game. I think both of these teams should be able to hit. And I don't see any reason why, Jason, I can't get 4 runs out of each team to at least get a push, maybe get it to extra innings. But I'm looking for a decent night at the plate or to both of these squads. That's the way I'm going here in this one.
Davies hasn't looked great in his last 2 starts. That's a given. 6 earned runs his last 12 innings pitched. But the reality is they're still quality starts. I'm not sure, what everyone's take is on quality starts and if allowing 3 earned runs in 6 innings is really a quality start anymore in this day and age. But it's a quality start, and Davies has been hitting quality starts most of the season. He's looked really good. I think he shuts down the Angels. His ground ball rate not very good, but his batting average of balls in play is very low at 241. And if it's around in the hundreds or like the 200s, the low 200s, then it's probably a fluke. But his number, .241, that's not a fluke. That's 10 starts. He's 7-3 in those 10 starts. He's looked really good. Not a fluke. So, limited hard contact for Davies. He's an average pitcher that's just getting the job done for the Padres with a lineup that's really good for the Padres going up against Griffin Canning. He gets a low amount of grounders, heavy hard contact, also has a high Sierra. So all these poor numbers, he's been on and off all season. So hits have been high. He's getting out of jams at a solid rate, but does that continue against the Padres, who have one of the better offenses in the league? I don't think so. Righties are hitting the lefty with a 298 average. I think that continues on into this game. I think the Padres on the money line, -177, is a great play if you're willing to pay the juice in this game.
Keep it moving here. 973, 974 for Amber Valdez. The lefty is going to go on the road with the Astros to go up and play the Mariners versus LJ Newsome. 7 out of every 10 tickets here on Houston. A heavy number on Houston, -195s across the board. Over-under opened up at 8.5. Now we're seeing it crack through with some 9s. Last time LJ Newsome was out, I had a nice fade him up with San Francisco Giants as they blew him off the mound. But then again comes, I would love to fade this guy again. Not a great pitching prospect, filling in, had some decent starts, but you see from the advanced analytical numbers, he's going to get tattooed up, and he got tattooed his last start. I would love to take the Houston Astros team total in this game, but it's the Houston Astros. A year and a half ago, I'd be all over this game. They are going to absolutely rake in this game. Not going to be the case. So I'm going to lay low. Over should... I can't even say it should come in here because Valdez has been pretty good. We'll see if Seattle can wake up a little bit at home. But the one thing I'm certainly not going to do is take a -190 on the road with the Houston Astros. I'll abstain from this game. Slight lean towards the over, but no real feel here whatsoever. Any thoughts on this game, Jason?
Valdez is the better pitcher, of course, over Newsome.
Yeah, he is.
Can the Astros do anything offensively for Valdez in this game? Valdez, not just the hitting, but Valdez has also been really hard to predict this season as well. He's had some really long outings where he's allowed plenty of earned runs. He's also had some short outings where he's allowed not so many runs. He's had some games with high walks. He's had some games with a high ground ball rate. He's been really hard to predict. The Astros have been really hard to predict, especially with their offense. So for me, it's a stay away game. Of course, Newsome, this is a guy, he's not walking anybody, throwing a ton of strikes. So looking at that stat, I think the Astros, they know strikes are coming. So I guess that's a little bit of a cheat code there for the Astros. Maybe they can score some runs, knowing that Newsome's not going to throw many walks. Therefore, they'll swing at pitches. Maybe, I mean, that's just a wild thesis there. But, I don't know. This is a stay away for me.
Yeah, we're reaching for stuff in this game to see how it's going to piecemeal and get it back together. I'm like, all right, let's just keep this bad boy moving. 975, 976. Texas Lau is going to be on the mound versus Caleb Smith. Two pitchers you would think that would be touched up in this one. At Arizona tonight, they'll probably open the roof for this one, which, as you know, late in the ball game, that ballpark can heat up here. That 9.5 is going to be in play. The only question is, boy, when you field these two lineups and you look at the advanced lineups here, Jason, there's not a lot to like out of each one of these lineups, but sometimes you just have to take a look at how bad these pitchers are and just say Major League Baseball hitters should be able to hit. You're not looking at two dominant bullpens are going to come in at the end of the game and shut this one down. So if I can get the roof open in this game, I agree with the line total opening up at 9 and now sitting at 9.5. I think they can get 10 runs in this one. The one thing I'm not going to do is lay 150 on Caleb Smith as a home team, even though I do not like the Texas Rangers. I like the over in this game. Give me an open roof. Give me two bad baseball teams. Give me two bad bullpens, and we'll get some runs in this one.
I got an official play on the over.
Yes.
9. I think I got the 9 last night, so that's an official play over 9 on the D-backs Rangers. I know the chat's going to talk about how poor these hitters have been for the
But
Rangers.
Joey Gallo hits 160, Jason. But Joey Gallo hits 160.
It was hard for me to click it too, but we had Jordan Lyles and Caleb Smith on the mound. It's like, it was funny though, because Jordan Lyles, he had one of his best starts in his last start. He went 7 innings, 2 earned runs, and like the coaching staff was in, like all the fan base and everyone at the Rangers. They were it was like he won the World Series. Oh, he went 7 innings, allowed 2 earned runs. This is like amazing, like great job. Like that's not gonna last, man. Like. He went 7 innings and allowed 2 earned runs, and we're celebrating that. That's how bad he's been all season long. They've even tried to piggyback with Lyles here and there, trying to get other pitchers to come in before him because they don't know how to get him going. Well, now they think they got him going, and now they're going to start him again, and all chaos will probably go right back and hit him right in the face again for the Diamondbacks. And Caleb Smith, on the other hand, this is a guy, he's had 3 starts this season. Well, he's averaging 10.13 walks per 9 innings. It was really just one game for the Marlins. Now he's gotten 2 games with the Diamondbacks that maybe hasn't been nearly as bad with the walks, but still an FIP of 8.94. Smith wasn't great last year either. Went 10-11 on the season. Last season, he's allowed a run in every game this season so far. Hasn't went more than 3 innings. So we're hoping, Smith allows 1 or 2 runs, comes out of the game in 3 innings, get that bullpen, and I have no doubt that they'll be able to hit the bullpen if you give them 5 innings of work there. So for me, over 9 is the play. Do I agree with 9.5? Of course, we're both going for that 10. Obviously, I'd rather get that 9. If you want to pay up juice at like minus 130, that's fine. That would make sense. You get that push at 9. But again, we're both trying to get that 10. So I'm making this play saying, yes, we're going to get that 10. So if you have 9.5, it's a little bit more of a risk, of course, but I do think we'll get 10 runs in this game.
No, I think you do too. Give me that roof open here. We'll get a little bit of pinball action going. 979, 980 last game. We'll talk about Colorado and San Francisco. Freeland and Smiley on the mound. Now, the interesting part about this game is when you take a look, Jason, you say, hey, Freeland's on the mound. Well, hold on here. 115 opens up. Now we're sitting at 150s. If you're just looking at Drew Smiley and just see that name pop up like, oh, my goodness, he should be able to get racked around and busted up, you take a look here and see his xFIP at a 2.58, doing damage to both lefties and righties. And San Francisco, now that they're going to be at home, they're going to be able to stack righties against Freeland. You figure they'll be able to scratch out some runs. Do I want to lay the 150? No. But we used to look at Smiley and laugh, oh, he's not a really good pitcher. He's been really good, man. I look at the strikeout numbers, almost 40% this year. Crazy.
Yeah. Smiley, he's got 15.19 strikeouts per 9 innings right now. 3.38 walks per 9, not too bad. Home runs are really low too. 1.76 FIP, 3.94 ERA. Then you got Freeland. He's got a high Sierra, does get solid ground balls, limits walks, but he's now allowed 7 runs in 2 starts this season versus the Giants in 2 starts. Like I said, so Giants are hitting lefties well this season. They've hit Freeland well this season. I like the Giants as an official play over 4 on their team total. I know they're at home, potentially might just get 8 innings, maybe not 9. So you hope that the Rockies score against Smiley. But, Freeland, I'm not too high on him. He's had some solid starts this season. He's also had some bad starts this season. This is a guy that I think a lot of people ended up fading last season. This season, nobody really knows what to do with him. But the Giants have known what to do with them, and that's hitting against him. And they've done a really great job hitting against Freeland in the 2 starts that they've had against him. So Giants over 4 team total. It's an official play for me against Freeland.
All right, 40 minutes today. Had to go over a huge card to get after it, heading forward some playoff baseball.
Yeah.
So now it's time to give out some best bets and bankers. 360 people watching live in the chat box. 64 thumbs up. We do appreciate that. If you did miss the show, you want to watch the replay, go right to sbrpicks.com/MLB for all your information. All Jason's writings are there. A lot of other people have contributed, and also videos, specifically right here. The Major League Baseball show will be listed on there. Now it's time to give out some winners. Last night with a clunker with St. Louis. I'm actually going to switch it up tonight. I'm not going to go with the team total. I'm going to go with an over, and one I think that should be in play for us tonight. You have a nice lineup that you anticipate going to be in for the Atlanta Braves. Even though Urania does have decent number against right-handed batters, he's going to step out and go on the road, and we do know Atlanta rakes right-handed pitching as opposed to left-handed pitching. And then if we take a look at on the opposite side, Bryce Wilson's going to be on the mound. How long is he going to last? A solid lineup should be intact tonight for the Miami Marlins. Last night they got 4 runs. I don't see any reason why they can't get at least 4 runs tonight. I look for both of these teams to score. Decent weather down there, high 60s, wind blowing slightly out. I think we get some runs tonight. We see a double-digit plus effort. I'm going to go with the total over 9.5 in the Atlanta Braves Miami Marlins game. Jason, take it away with some best bets and bankers tonight.
We're going the D-backs and Rangers over 9 with Jordan Lyles and Caleb Smith on the mound. Again, both pitchers haven't been good this season, and you expect the MLB hitters to do enough damage in this game. I love how the number isn't at 10, so all you need is 10 now to get that win. So I love this game on the over, even with terrible hitting. Should get the job done against even worse pitching. And then lastly, we got the Giants over 4 on their team total. Again, if you only see 4.5, that's okay. We're both trying to get that 5. I got the 4 as the push. If you want to get that 4.5, you're probably getting it around plus money at around plus 105. So definitely some value there, and I don't mind that. Again, we're both going for that 5. It's going to be a late night for me on the East Coast. D-backs, Rangers, Giants, and Rockies. It's going to be a late night for me. Probably won't be going to bed till like 1:30. The banker is the Diamondbacks, Rangers over 9 in that game. But yeah, I'll be up late at night. So if anybody wants to, reach out to me, talk to me, I'll be up. I'll be watching these games, and I'm going to be tired tomorrow.
Yeah, and we found out yesterday on the show, Jason does have a twin brother. We thought it might have been an identical twin who's maybe I was doing shows with every other day, depending on which twin it was. But had some good times. We had a great time yesterday on the Monday Night Football show. A lot of good stuff going on here on the channels. And again, guys, thank you for checking in with us. Thank you for coming into the chat box and saying hello and spending your lunch and afternoon with us. Trying to give out some winners today, closing it down in Major League Baseball. Not a lot of time left, but we're going to be bringing it once again tomorrow on Wednesday, 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm Donnie Seymour. He's Jason Radowitz. We're sportsbook.com, and this was your Major League Baseball show.